All right. First feedback loop of the new year. Getting things underway here. Chris Gordy, new Pragmatic. So good to be back. Um, had a bit of a stepped away from it for a minute. Got out of town. Quarantine, of course. Got to be safe. Got to be masked up. Um, just making sure right now that everything is loading properly over here on the Planet YouTubes, and going to check the audio, make sure we've got good audio. Sure right now that everything is loading properly over here on the Planet YouTubes, and we've got audio. Seems a little odd. We've got audio. Yeah. All right. So we've definitely got audio, which is good. I am somewhat curious. Yeah, definitely. Okay, we're in the right mic. Sometimes the mic gets switched, and the mic has sounded a bit off the last couple of recordings, so something I'm going to have to take a look at. But that said, we've got a lot of stuff to discuss, and we should just go ahead and get this underway. Greetings, one and all. Chris Gordy here, new Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. So good to have you back along with us. Today we've got a few things to catch up on. Primarily Eve and Abby are here. Abby's working through her prototype, beginning to get her fresh market project eking toward that finish line. And really this is where she's beginning to add to make sure the function of the project that she's been working on, to make sure it's functioning. Eve is in the middle of preference testing for a side project that she's working on. So I'm excited to take a look at the things that she's come up with. She's really been working hard at overhauling an existing site for a volunteer organization that she's working for called First Teacher. And then it looks like Abraham has slid in here with a few questions here regarding color. So, Abraham, looking at this, now that, we're here, Abraham's questions here are related to basically the not so much mixing of colors, but the mixing of styles. In that, sometimes we have what's referred to as flat design, which is basically very 2D, and then shadows, shadows also could be gradients. We're talking about material design, and a lot of this comes down to context. For instance, we're going to look at Eve's project, and I know that she's got a lot of primary and secondary colors in use throughout the preference test that she's got. But she's working on a home page. And I think color usage is different on a home page than it is on a dashboard. A dashboard has so much going on. You can really overwhelm the user if you give too much, if you put too much usage of color into the mix in a dashboard. You need to be very specific about, okay, I want you to click here but not there. I want you to click here but not there. And everything else, it could be something that's clickable, active, but it should be secondary. The primary thing you want to focus on is, okay, what is the core focus here? And if you have a action color that you're using, you can't use that over and over and over and over and over again throughout the dashboard. Otherwise, in your case, I see that you're using like an orange. It would be a dashboard color covered in orange. So the usage of the secondary is vital, just to keep things clear about where you're wanting people to go. How much of it that you use is pretty interesting, because, like, could you use it on an icon? Like I see a couple of areas where you've taken a card and you've minimized it down, and you've got that orange being used on an icon next to some words. I think that's fine. The little usages of spot color, I think, makes sense. It's when we draw big boxes and we fill them with color, and they're all sorts of different colors, or maybe they're all the same color, but it's box, 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 box all the way down, that's when it becomes an issue. So if you're being restrained in your color usage, and you've got that main that you're using it in a couple of spots on a dashboard, that's fine. Everything else has to be secondary because not everything can be primary. And then from there, not everything has to be a button. So it is really about a dashboard. The color usage on a dashboard is, can you have something that clearly says this is the primary action? And then you also have to keep in mind that most dashboards are having to show data, and there's other colors that could be involved. So your usage of color in the facilitation of actions has to be restrained, because if it's not restrained, then it's going to get in the way of everything else that's going on. So I bless the restrained usage of color. The next question you had was related to shadows and gradients and whatnot, and I think that it's pretty hard to put a lot of shadows in play. On if you're being restrained with color, it's not that typically minimizes your usage of shadows. So I would say that if you're exercising restraint already, but there's areas that you want to give emphasis to, I'm fine with it. I bless it. A lot of times where I really see that come into play is in the interactions with those primaries. Like if I tap or if I hover over, does that button then get a shadow, or does it get does the gradient overlay change somehow? So I think that's fine. All I'm looking for is restrained usage and then consistent usage. Like if you whatever transition or shadow or gradient that you're applying, do it consistently. Okay, so restraint and then consistency, and then you're good to go. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let's get this underway. All right, so first of all, we're going to start here with first teacher, which is where Eve is, and she's got a couple of different versions of this. And right away, one of the big things that you should notice is, aside from the color on the image changing, which is a little odd, this design makes use of a yellow call to action, and this design makes use of a blue call to action. I don't have a big preference there. It's just picking out what immediately pops off as the big change. If we scroll down on the yellow one, I can see like you're consistently using yellow as the call to action, which is fine. You've got the section here. Looks like there's upcoming programs, and so this is virtual programs. You might, I don't know. The question I have is, is this enough? Is there enough emphasis on this? Does this label need to be like a bold or something to call more attention to itself? Is this what is the name of the gum that this is reminding me of? There's a gum that I had as a kid that had this same exact color profile. Gosh, now I've got to go look at it. Come along with me on this journey. Colorful gum. And yes, Fruit Stripe. You have brought Fruit Stripe back to life. Congratulations, Eve. This is now the Fruit Stripe design. I'm not kidding you. It's Fruit Stripe. So Fruit Stripe. I haven't thought about Fruit Stripe in a billion years. Images. There's like that T-shirt. You brought that T-shirt to life. Let's come back over here to your design. Fruit Stripe, meet Fruit Stripe. It's not quite the same, but it is the yellow, the green, and the red. It's the yellow, the green, and the red. It's great. Now, I think it's a little thick for the design here, and this is where you probably got to go back into that CSS and find the block that it's been, and then edit that down. Or you've got to make a really thin image to slide in there. But overall, I like the idea of it. It's very colorful. It's picking up on the yellows, but I would probably like chop it down to like that. I think it's about 4 times too large right now. But that's just, hey, look at that. That's just my opinion on that. Our goals. So the first goal, second goal. It is interesting. Do you need to mention first goal, or should this be build a safe community? Should that be the text that's there? Increase confidence. I'm not sure that the first, second, third is the trick there, and then you get to the bottom and you've got this. I like the consistent usage of the yellow throughout. I think it works. The green is nice. I like the fruit stripe. It's just a little thick, and yeah. So let's take a look at the other one. Okay, and this one's blue and gray, so it's a little more subtle, but it lines up with what their logo is, and I know you're still working on that, but it's a little more subdued, which is not terrible. Oh, and then we've got a purple. That's a lot of purple, and you're using the purple on this goal here as well. Yeah, for me. Oh, and then the yellows are back, but okay. So the call to action buttons flip from blue to yellow. I'm not crazy about that. And this is a lot of purple. I could see doing something similar to what you did with the fruit stripe with the purple. But I think having it as the entire background kind of saturate it makes us feel really heavy. I don't see this I don't see purple as the go here. But that said, I am interested on hearing back from your preference tests on what they see there, because I know that you've got these set up as two sides to the same. So you. Oh, actually, you've got more here. So you've got a second page here that I'm not seeing on the other ones that you shared. But and then let's go to the next one. Yeah, it's just a lot of purple. Doesn't make it wrong though. It's just a lot of purple. I still think that the switching of the primary is less than ideal, because it's like you've got a primary and then you go away from it right away. And I understand that blue is not going to be as great there, or there for that matter, and you can't really use the blues down here. Maybe this goes to a lighter color. Maybe this doesn't have to stay so dark on for the footer. Maybe that's an adjustment that could be made to make this purple feel not as heavy. This photo is interesting because it really minimizes the image, and I wonder if this would be better suited with a different crop. Maybe something that sometimes we try to go big with the images, and they just don't come off because we have to put overlays on them, and it really makes the image murkier, and we don't really see what's going on in the image. And I think that's what's happening here in both cases. So regardless of whether it's fruit stripe, and I'm saying I'm going to refer to this one. This is like fruit stripe, and this is grape ape. Grape ape was a cartoon from it was a giant ape that rode around on top of a van. But this is grape ape, and this is fruit stripe, and I loved both of those things. But here the grape is just it's a little overpowering. The image in both it's muddy. So whether you go with fruit stripe or grape, I would say that This part needs to be reworked in each. Um, and then with even if you did the purplish grape, I would make it a thinner divider. But if you did keep it, I would look at flipping the footer. So like there's options. If you want to keep it the other way, I would flip the footer. If you want to keep it, if you don't want to keep it, then I would probably keep the footer where it's at. But in each case, there's some adjustments that I would make. I'm interested to see where this ends up. The other thing I would mention is you've got this teach, and you've got this highlight over here that says teach. And I wonder, you've already got the word teach here. I wonder if this is where you highlight the intro, like empower, accept, commit. Have doesn't really work that well. Have the courage. Have courage, comma, ask for help. Might take some wordsmithing to get this portion over here to work right. Otherwise, I would just lose the TEACH because you've already got it here. But why do you have it here? If you, it's not quite there. This needs some more work down here. But from a content perspective, and there's nothing that you've done here that's necessarily wrong. It just needs content refinement. Okay, so let's hop over here to Abby. Oh, I imagine, yes, Abby's over here. And let's see what's going on with Abby's prototype. So Abby's done a lot of work here in the prototype. Let's go ahead and put this in. I'm just curious about putting this into motion because I just want to kind of see where she's at. I given her some feedback on her like usage of placeholder text and whatnot. But let's take a look and see what she's got here. So elevate your eating. Elevate your eating. Eating is eating. Elevate your eating. Why does eating feel... The word eating does not feel like something that I elevate. Elevate your dining. Elevate your options. Elevate your meals. Like there's a lot of things that I elevate, but my eating isn't one of those. So there's some, I would do some work there. And this is the first time that I've really like stopped and looked at this on screen as a message. But elevate your eating. It's the word eating is just eating at me. Meal subscription service that offers high quality daily offerings for pickup and delivery. A meal subscription service. Your meal subscription service. Like make it feel like it belongs to them. Your best, the best. Like right now it feels like one of many. Your. We want to make it either feel exclusive or belonging to them. So sign up. What we do. I don't necessarily know if you'll need the bullets when this is all said and done, but they're there for right now. How it works, I don't necessarily think you'll need this box. You might go edge to edge. But it is nice to see. It looks like you're still figuring this out. Weekly, bi-weekly, custom. Okay, so we've got the... I wonder what happens if I click sign up. Oh, okay. So if I click sign up, it takes me here. Not sure where that should take me. Maybe it's just busted right now. Not quite finished there. So I'm going to refresh. We'll go back to the front. Let's go to sign up. Okay, so it still takes me here. Let's refresh again. Let's go sign up. Okay, so that's not working quite yet. Let's just go to menu. Oh, and this is something I think is pretty important. You can hide away. hide footer. Yeah, there we go. So now that's gone. Now I can click on this stuff up here. Okay, so it took me 2 clicks to get there. So we'll need to work on that. Let's just go take a look at that real fast. What's happening here? So menu. Okay. So while hovering, I'm not quite sure. Like it looks like this just kind of. I'm not quite sure how this is built because it looks like maybe just a line comes in, and then it goes back to here. It's interesting. Typically, what we would see here is while hovering, but on click, it just automatically goes to the next spot, and I'm not quite sure again how this is built. And this is a pretty important spot to make sure we've got this sorted out. Okay, so while hovering, open overlay, nav pricing, that's great. Okay, and then if we click, that's while hovering again, and that's while hovering. Interesting. So there is no click. So I'm curious to. We should have a conversation around that. Or oh, okay. So this is on click. Okay. So here I've gone up. I'm not sure why that. Like, if this is click, I'm not even really sure how we get to here. So I've gotten to here, but I'm not sure how this comes into play. So on click, you go to nav pricing. We'll need to take a look at that because, like, right now, I have to click twice, and that like, if I totally get it. If I hover, it should do that, but if I click, like it's now just kind of there, and it's not going anywhere. So a little bit of work to get that, but it's relatively minor. So here we are on meals of the week. So this is where some data. We should have some data. We don't have to have images yet, but you should have some data in here about what meals are being offered. There should be recommendations, and this is where I mentioned earlier there was a prototyping. Well, not really a prototyping, but there was a spell checking tool that you might want to utilize. So here's recommendations, and this is again one of those things that, like, once you get it sorted out, like, we go down here to spell, and so I thought I just upgraded this. Well, no, I'm not doing that. So was that the spell checker that we were just using? Let's go here. Or was it this one? I think this is the one. Yeah, spell checker. One thing I like about this one is it gives you a list of options, and
from that, and for those that are following along, this was just spell checker instead of spell. And spell checker is the one that I liked more anyway, because I thought it did a better job of giving you options. Spell will check foreign languages, which is nice, but I don't do a lot of designs in foreign languages. Most of the time, if I was doing a design in foreign language, I'd probably want more than just a spell checker to be looking out for me, because I don't necessarily know what I'm clicking if I'm checking, say, Hindi. Um, so spell checker, I would make sure you're using that, because that you do need to go through and, like, because these things get copied over and over. So you do need to go through and eradicate as much as you can. Let's go back here. So that's updated. Um, I'm not sure if these are supposed to be going somewhere. I guess I have to sign up, and when I sign up, I got to be able to, like, get through that sign up phase. This is where, oh, sorry, that's me. This is where the pacing of your prototype comes into play. So if you guide people through at a logical point that says, okay, everything up to this point can be done without signing in, but once you get past this point, everything is signed in. That impacts what shows up here. Like, this is basically, okay, so the person has signed in, and for some reason that's just slightly off kilter. It looks like maybe, did you, nope. I'm not sure why that is off kilter. It could be just, it's still a little off. What's going on with that? Honestly, don't know. It's centered. Oh, weird. Oh, interesting. So this is grouped with the title, and the title is okay. Interesting. I don't know how you space this, but this shape is the shape is not allowing you to really drag out to the edge, so we are going to now I dragged that in, and now I'm putting it back inside. Oh, it's because it's an instance. Okay, so I shouldn't adjust that there. I should adjust it. I should adjust it at the instance level, which means I need to come over here to components, and there's probably a component somewhere or another for well, I was almost certain that you probably had a, I'm not sure where that's saved at. So we've got some, where is that? Where is that component at, Abby? It's saved as a component. Oh, it's because it's right here. Okay. So this component is not on the components page. It's literally here. So that's something. That's the sort of thing we want to definitely make sure that we're fixing. Um, and see, as we fix that component, and that's now centered up, the other one takes care of itself because it's now centered up. But this component not existing on the components page, this is where you can get yourself into trouble because it's a component, yes, but it's not over here on the components page. So it doesn't have a logical place to look for it. So that means that if you have any components that are sitting here in the design, you've got to hunt around in the design and hope that somebody doesn't come along and do this, which didn't impact this right away, which is interesting. And it didn't impact it if I deleted it away. Okay. So if somebody comes through and changes this to, that, it's going to change it everywhere. And I would just rather have this over on the components page instead of having it buried inside of the design. But it was interesting that I was able to adjust the spacing inside of the shape and it still took effect, but doing this didn't do anything to it. So something to keep an eye on. Overall, I can see that you're working through the process, but one thing I want to mention while we're here, and this is where I will stop pounding the table, is you've got this idea of I'm not logged in, and there's pages that I can access before logging in. You want to basically make sure that there's this line, and this line says I can do these things without logging in. Okay, but once you're logged in, you cross over, and you're basically not going to access these pages again. So you want to make sure that you get that login process set quickly so that you can then come back with whatever version of the login that you have where you've got your account information, because that changes your nav, obviously, and you've acknowledged that, which is good. But there's pre-login and post-login, and I see that you're acknowledging it. It's just now the question is, how do you hook these two sides together? Because you've got the prototype pre-login, and you've got the prototype post-login. And what I hate for students is having to think about untangling this once you have discovered later, oh, the nav bar will be different if they are logged in. And provided that you've acknowledged that early on and you've accommodated for that, your prototype will be pretty smooth to put together. It's the untangling when you get too far along, you're like, oh god, the nav needs to change. Then it's like, okay, well, where all have I used the nav? Well, you've used the nav everywhere, so I have to now untangle. You've acknowledged it here, which is good. We just need to make sure that this part is ready to go before you get much further. Okay? All right, so that's Eve, and that's Abby, and we've talked with Abraham, and we've gave Ricardo feedback earlier. Bren's had feedback. Eddie's had feedback. All right, looks like we got everybody good to go. So with that said,
I'm going to wrap it up because we've got a busy day of calls. I'm going to see Rebecca here in just a bit. Fernando's coming up this afternoon. If you are in any way looking for a new job in 2021, Wednesday night, office hours, after hours. I'll put a link into the Discord channel. If you're not a member of the Discord channel, go to newpragmatic.com, click on the link for community access. That'll get you in where we're making all the announcements, where we're posting the videos. We do this 5 days a week. And we'd love to have you take part. But anyway, I'm Chris Courtney. This has been the Feedback Loop, first Feedback Loop for 2021. And I will chat with all of you later. Take care.